Do you ever wonder about the water cycle? We know that we have water in our environment, we drink water every day, but the whole idea here is how can we visualize this whole water cycle? So let's see if we can talk about that today. So here we have a drawing where I have a lake here, we have mountains. We do know that in mountains we have little rivers, and the little river will come here and fill out this little lake here. But we also know that we have the sun right here. Perfect. When we have the water cycle, we need to figure out how come we end up with a cycle. This cycle is a big, you could think of a wheel going this way. So how can we visualize that? So first of all, the big engine behind the water cycle is the sun. As the sun is warming in our environment, what happens is that we have water molecules that are getting all excited and then will evaporate. So we have water from the big evaporating like this. We have the snow on the mountain that is also melting. We also have, if there's some water where the ground is, they're evaporating. And because of the sun, we have photosynthesis here in the trees. And the trees have a system called, okay, so there's something happening here. It's called transpiration. That means that the water comes out of their leaves because of photosynthesis. And for example, if you go to a jungle, it's always very humid. And the humidity is water coming from the photosynthesis. So the first word we have today is, I just said it, it's evaporation. So let's see if I can put it right here. So evaporation here, we have the energy of the sun and water evaporates towards the sky. Interestingly enough, as it goes up like this, the temperature will cool down. And as the temperature cools down, the water molecules will start cooling down and they'll move less and less. And what will happen is they will start a process called condensation. So the water will start creating little droplets, and then the droplets will become much bigger drops as a drop of water in the sky here. So here, this is what we call condensation. So we have condensation. Perfect. So when we have in the summer the water evaporating and going and forming clouds, we have often very dark gray clouds, so full of water, and it's held up in the air. Sometimes we have wind, so wind goes this way, and then we end up with water in the atmosphere that is evaporated from one part and then moves to another part. So let's see if I can take this idea of evaporation out. Like this. Perfect. Once we have condensation in the clouds here and the droplets are getting bigger and bigger, then we have gravity that takes over. Gravity is the force that pulls us towards the center of the planet. So what will happen is those drops of water will start getting heavier and heavier, and then will come down this way. This is what we call precipitation. So we have precipitation like this. So when it's in the water state, it will come down and go back to the ground. If it is cooler, what will happen is that this water will be in the solid form and will fall down as part of snowflakes. And then we have at the top of our mountain all the snow we like for skiing. And then we have here all the water we like for water skiing. There you go. So here, this is the third word we have here. The fourth word is about water runoff. So I'm going to say water runoff like this. So what's happening? is that if you have 2 drops of rain going this way, they will just stay in the they will go on the land and the ground, and they will seep through. When the water goes here, the water will just go in the soil. However, if there's a lot of rain, what will happen is there's an accumulation of drops here, and what will happen, you will end up with small creeks that will go into small rivers. It will go to a river here, and the water will end up in the lake. This is what we call water runoff. So here, the runoff goes much beyond the lake, because from this lake, you can have other rivers that goes into larger rivers that could end up in the ocean. So this is part of what's happening here. So runoff often is on the surface. But when there's a lot of water, what happens is that the water percolates through the soil. And then you also have underground water. Underground water. So what happened here is, because of gravity, we have water that will flow through between the grains of sand, between the rocks, and will flow towards where the lake is. So we have water runoff on the surface, but also underground water. And it's important because some people have water wells where they will go and get the water underground to be able to drink. So this is what I call the water cycle. So we have evaporation, which is the first word, that goes to condensation. Then everything moves. Then we have precipitation that will end up with enough water with water runoff. And as it goes down here to the lake or to the ocean, the cycle starts over again when there'll be more evaporation. And this becomes what I call a cycle. So this is the water cycle I want to talk today. If you have any questions with respect to the cycle or clarification questions, please do not hesitate to put them in the comments below. I always look at your comments to see what I can learn from you, or use your questions for more videos on this channel. And on this, thank you very much. I'm going to put here another video on about the environment. You'll see, you'll learn something more here.